The Heritage Foundation out with its long-awaited study on the economic impact of immigration reform, and it's putting a hefty price tag on the Senate Gang of Eight's bipartisan bill. The study finds that granting amnesty to 11 million unlawful immigrants will cost taxpayers at least $6.3 trillion. Here now is the author of that study, Robert Rector. He's Senior Research Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and Douglas Holtz-Eakin, President of American Action Forum. Okay, gentlemen, Robert Rector, I think it's a very useful service to price out the costs here. I think that's very useful. But I want to ask you, in your calculations, is there an economic growth component? Because part of this bill is going to be brainiacs, entrepreneurs, engineers, and other innovators that might really give the American economy some economic torque. Is that inside your numbers?
No, we have only looked in this study at the cost of amnesty. And with amnesty, what you're doing is taking 10 million illegal immigrants with an average education of 10th grade and giving them access to 80 different welfare programs, Social Security, Medicare, and Obamacare. The net cost of that is that you're going to increase government spending by about $9 trillion. These individuals will pay about $3 trillion in taxes, but there will be a net deficit of $6 trillion that has to be paid by U.S. taxpayers. Now, there are other components to the bill. We have not offset those. We have not studied those yet, but I will be doing that. And what I would say is the fiscal impact of those other components really depends upon the skill level of the immigrants you're bringing in. If you bring in an immigrant with a college education, on average, they're going to pay about $30,000 a year more in taxes than they take out in government benefits. On the other hand, if you bring in immigrants that have a 10th grade education, they're exactly the opposite. Right. Every single year, they cost $30,000 more in benefits than they pay in taxes. Right. That's the problem of what we've been doing, is bringing in massive numbers of low-skill immigrants.
Let me go to Doug Holtz-Eakin. Doug, you've heard what Robert Rector has to say. I mean, one of the immigrants we might bring in might create a new Amazon, or for I know, a new Microsoft. I mean, there's always that. But what's your general take on the Heritage study?
I think there are, first of all, they're to be congratulated for contributing to the debate. It's an important debate, and there are pieces that are in the study that I think are open to further scrutiny, and there are pieces left out, as you've mentioned. If you look at what's in the study, there are 10, 11 million people here unlawfully. The presumption is that they would reside here for 50 years, so $6.3 trillion is over 50 years. And over those 50 years, they would become legal and get full access to federal benefits. That's just unrealistic. We're not going to get all 10 made legal. Felons aren't legal. Those with 3 misdemeanors can't be eligible. Not everyone will make it to citizenship. You have to be employed for 10 years at above the poverty line employment. So it's an unrealistic upper bound. It also assumes there's no American dream. These are people who are in poverty now. They remain in poverty. Their children are in poverty. So it's a study that is biased against finding any kind of success, thus lowering the price tag. And as you mentioned, Larry, I really want to emphasize this. There's a lot left out. I mean, we're looking at a comprehensive immigration reform. This is the tiny slice. But among the things that are left out are all the substantive criticisms that have been levied to Mr. Rector's 2007 study. In the 6 years in between, he's not done one thing to change those methods. And I think it's an important question as to why this could have been done better.
Well, Robert Rector, all right, 2 questions here. Number one, what about the idea of upward mobility? I mean, the sons and daughters of undocumented illegal immigrants might make good. I mean, I think that's an important point. This is America.
Our study is the only study that examines that. We take the existing data on upward mobility, we look at the education level of the parents of the kids of illegal immigrant children, and we use the existing data to project what their educational attainment will be. And when you do that, you find that not only do these kids not pay back the $6.3 trillion deficit that their parents left, they themselves will also be in deficit. They will receive more in benefits than they pay in taxes. It's all in the study. Now, they are a lot better than their parents, but they're starting out at a very low level. So you can't expect them to make up these costs. Also, it's completely untrue that we didn't change our methodology. The methodology is considerably different in areas where it needed to be improved. And the methods that we're using are the exact same methods used by the National Academy of Sciences back in their report on the fiscal and economic cost of immigration. And incidentally, they don't find all of these great economic benefits for American citizens that has allegedly come from massive immigration.
The thing is, though, Doug Holtz-Eakin, look, we're not going to deport the 11 million undocumented. We've already made that decision. We also are going to bring in, the H-1B, I call them the brainiacs. We're going to leave the kids who went to our universities, we're going to let them stay here. In other words, there's a lot of entrepreneurship and potential economic growth in this whole immigration story. And it just seems to me that it would be a pity if we used a static analysis as sort of a worst case rather than a more dynamic analysis of what could be a great case if people are coming to America.
You're not going to end up with any kind of economic gain that is going to pay for the $6.3 trillion loss that's right on the surface here.
Go ahead,
but wait, I don't understand how you can even say that, because number one, you didn't do the analysis, and it's easy enough to do, and you should do it. And this is $6.3 trillion over 50 years. That's about 2% of projected spending over that period. It's under a percent of GDP. It takes almost nothing in the way of beneficial economic growth over long periods to outweigh that kind of fiscal impact. This has always been a debate about growth, about the robust private sector, about the opportunity for advancement, and to measure it through the sterile metric of taxes and spending is just wrong.
We do look at the growth of income of these illegal immigrants.
No, you don't.
Also, you can't say that we didn't study these things. You haven't produced a study either. You've produced about 5 paragraphs of analysis. We would really like to see all of the magic effects that you have in your analysis and why your study contradicts the National Academy of Sciences, who found exactly the opposite thing.
The National Academy of Sciences actually did full-blown 300-year studies of the life cycle impacts. So if you want to go there, that's fine. If you want to do the full economic analysis, that's fine. My point, Robert, is simply this. You've got a comprehensive bill that's under consideration. It has border security, employer verification, ag programs, H-1Bs, temporary worker programs, a change in the core visa system toward merit-based and away from family unification. You throw all of that out and analyze it strictly on the merits of one narrow provision where you assume 100% take-up and no economic progress. It doesn't seem like a fair reading of the bill.
That's not true. Let me cover the number of people.
We're going to come back. We'll have a debate another time. We're not going to settle it tonight. I'm sorry about that. Heritage Foundation, Robert Rector, thank you very much. American Action Forum's Douglas Holtz-Eakin. But I want to bring in some